Imagine hanging on a tree, nails in your hands and nails in your feet. What about the thorns in your hair like nails? Blood dripping down in your face you can't see. What about the issue in your side like you gave the permission and said, put another hole in me? What about the pain, you didn't do anything. The pain, you didn't do anything. So much the pain, you didn't do anything.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me live tonight on Facebook. Robinette Bryce, this is your host. You're on Conversations on Purpose talk show. And this is a talk show that was given to me, I believe, by the Creator, God Himself, so that we could talk about issues on purpose. And on YouTube Live, you look up Conversations on Purpose talk show, and then you'll find us there also live right now. We have a YouTube channel. Now, what we're going to discuss today is preachers. So I'm preaching, but still violence erupts. And that's really twofold, because it's like we have the preachers who preach, and you got people that's saying, well, how is it that you're doing all that preaching, but violence is still happening in your community. Violence can still hit your home. And then you got it where, and on the other instance, you have it where it's like I'm preaching, but violence still is erupting. So it's like no one is listening. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. And we want to bring on a good friend, Pastor Charles Carrol of Annapolis, Maryland. We want to bring him on as our guest tonight so we can discuss a lot of issues tonight. And before he even speaks, I just want to say this is a true man of faith, a man who loves God and loves the people. He travels across the country internationally teaching the gospel, but he doesn't leave his community behind. He is a man that the community calls on for help and for guidance. They call on him because they trust him. They call on him for strength. His community of Annapolis, Maryland, um, they trust him in his community. So this is a man that they call on as the community activist, a man of the cloth, a man that they believe lives what he preached, that lives and walk what he teach. And so they trust that. And so that is honestly how I met Pastor Carl. It was out when he was doing work out in the street, and I was called to be a part of it. And we have been friends, him and his family, ever since. And I thank God for that. And so, Pastor Carl, we want to call you on. God bless you, man of God. How are you this evening?
I am doing wonderful, woman of God. I'm delighted, excited to be on the show tonight. I think it's a wonderful show, conversation on purpose. I think we do have to be purposeful about what we talk about, even as preachers, stuff like that. The ground that's up for about on one.
Pastor, we having a problem hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clear. So can you?
All
Can
right,
we
I'm gonna hold this mic up to my mouth. Well, again, God bless you, Sister Robin. I've known you for a long time. Wonderful woman of God. Excited to be on your show tonight, Conversations on Purpose, because I think that we do have to have these type of conversations on purpose. I love the title. Just being a preacher, being a pastor, bishop, whatever, we're not immune to violence, you know what I mean? And I personally myself have experienced violence in my own home as a result of gun violence. Just to tell you a little bit about my story, 2016, city of Annapolis, with 38,000 people, we had the deadliest year of young African Americans being killed by gun violence. I think we had 13 black boys killed in the city of Annapolis. And I buried the sixth homicide victim. That's how I kind of got involved. And then a month later, my own son was shot in one of the public housing communities in the city of Annapolis, 9 millimeter, shot like 6 times. And to this day, my family and I, we still have not received
wow.
justice. Just last week, I buried the youngest victim that was murdered in our city. He was 14 years old. So that's my son. He was my firstborn. He was really
Wow.
my inspiration um, to getting saved. 1991, he was born. That's when I came to know the Lord. And never my
So
wildest dreams that I think that I would be a victim of gun violence. Here I'm preaching the gospel, and then my son was gunned down while I'm in the streets helping other people. Somebody took my son's life. And the
yes,
next day, the next morning, I felt like God had failed me. I'm saying, God, I believe the scriptures. I preach the scriptures.
tell the truth.
How could you allow this to happen to me? Me of all people. I'm burying other people's kids. Then the enemy comes and takes my own son, my oldest son, my firstborn, who was my
Mm,
inspiration to give my life to God. He was the one that made me get saved when he was born. I said I gotta do something for myself. I wasn't saved, and I got
mhm.
saved. And I always thought that he would come to God, but the devil took my son from me, and I've been to this day still. I'm burying young men in the city of Annapolis. I think I buried up almost 19 African American boys with gun violence. It's still going on.
So, Pastor, if I could just ask you, when your son was killed, how old was he at that time?
25.
25 years old. I'm so sorry to hear about that. I remember when I came in town from Nashville, I was looking at the news, and the news anchors were talking about the community pastor who was just on the news speaking about stopping the violence in the street. And they were saying how you were just on the news, I believe, the week prior, talking
Yeah.
about stop the violence and all this stuff. And they were saying, and I looked because they were saying Annapolis, and I looked over, and I remember saying to my mother in Owings Mills, I was like, Mom, I was like, that's Pastor Carol, and because they showed your face, and I looked and said no, because it was so sad. I remember your son calling one time, I believe when I was at your church in the daytime,
Yeah.
and you were saying he's trying to get himself together or whatever. And so it was just sad just to hear that and just to know you do so much in the street. You were doing so much. And then they were saying the next week you were on the news now with your son, and dealing with that same thing, like you said, after you were, helping so many people. And people don't get that how you as a preacher, and I want to bring this out because you said, but I want us to really get into it. You're preaching, you're helping everyone else. He was your inspiration, even like you said, and even getting saved. But your young son um, ended up being killed, and now you have to deal with this in front of everybody. You know what I mean? In front of the public after you consoled so many and buried so many others. So, so how was that? I know you hit on it some,
Yeah.
but he
It
was
was
so
it was
young.
kind of really rough, because at the same time we had what is called neighborhood gang violence, where it was trying to really um act like they were being gang members out here, and my member's son was killed. Um, her nephew. So at the same time that I was bleeding, and I was going, I was still burying. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to get a break. I mean, it was still calling on. And I had one time I had three gun violence victims inside of my church at one time who had lost their kids.
Oh wow.
I had people, kids who have killed other people's kids. They were all in the church at one time and didn't even know it, you know. And even to this day, we're still grieving over that. It's
Yeah.
still a rough process. It's literally destroyed my whole family. I woke up and my life was changed. I had buried
Yeah.
his friend the month before. He was in the church, and he was just ready to get his life together. And I believe that it was a life turning point for him, but he took one more gamble, and he ended up losing his life. And it took us 4 years dealing with
Wow.
the racism within the police department in Anne Arundel County, Annapolis City Police Department. And to this day, we still haven't gotten justice. We just found out like this year, like what really, really happened to him, you know.
Wow.
And so, not only was I grieving on my own son, but I was burying other people's kids. And
Yeah.
to this day, I buried almost 20 young men. With the latest victim was last week, 14 years old. I know y'all saw it. Most people saw that on the news. 14-year-old boy was gunned down. One of these communities shot like 8 times,
Oh
and
God.
I had to walk through that process with his mother. Just she just it was just the most horrible thing I've ever had to do in my life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so God took my pain and turned it into my purpose. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And I've been able to get in some places where I've been able to help people. And I always say that, my death, my loss, can help somebody else. You know what I mean? I could have gave up.
Hmm.
Just I could have lost my mind, but all I just kept on calling on Jesus.
Yes.
I was leading and bleeding all at the
Yes.
same time. I was praising my way through. I
Mhm.
was just staying with the Lord, and that's how I, that's how I do today. I help people. That's become my purpose. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't. Sometimes we say all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord, but we don't know what that all means.
Yes.
That all might meant that I had to lose my son. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I read the scripture in Acts where it says the promises under you and your children, and many Lord God that called. When my son was killed, I was quoting all kinds of scriptures.
Yeah.
I actually literally was in shock the morning
Yeah.
after. You know what I mean? I was sitting in a chair. I was
Oh God.
crying out to God. You know what I mean? I'm saying, God, I'm working for you. You
Yeah.
saved, and then God spoke back to me and said He can't save people against their will. I mean, they got to
Hmm.
want to be saved. You know what I mean? And so,
Yes.
today I'm still fighting for justice. I'm still fighting for justice for these other mothers in our city that we deal with now. A lot of times, these African American boys get killed, and because they may not be model citizens, their lives are devalued. And so that's what I'm
Yes.
fighting now to get these mothers justice, fight against the system. You know what I mean? Because nobody has the right to take a Nobody has the right to do
That's
that,
right.
and they hit me first. You know what I mean? And so I'm
Wow.
in hitting back, and I'm fighting good, and I'm
That's
still
right.
preaching, and I'm still believing God that there's a purpose in this.
Yes.
There's a reason. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? I didn't get mad
Mm-hmm.
with God. I was mad at first, but then I came to myself,
Yeah.
and I heard what Job said. God told Job said, "Where were you?"
Yeah.
And I went to Job's story, and Job lost his whole family. I said, I
Yeah.
only lost one person, so
Yeah.
the scriptures brought me hope, and I
Potential.
God,
Mm-hmm.
always prepares. You know what I mean? He prepares us for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of
Yes.
people they come to me and say, "Oh well, God knows this what He's doing." I don't give God credit because it's the devil that did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm fighting strong. I was able
Yes.
through this to chair the county's gun violence task force. I was able to this to get in the mayor's office. The Bible still gift will make room for you and bring you in the presence of
Mm-hmm.
great people. You know what I mean? And through this tragedy, God has put me in the position as a voice to advocate for those who are going through the same things that I'm going through. I've had people who I had one incident where I buried our son, and then his brother turned around and killed my member's son, and I had to
Oh
bury
God.
him. So I was just burying, you know, um, people, that whole year. I was out there by myself. It was the most deadliest year that we ever had in the city of Annapolis,
Wow.
and we're still having these now. On top of the people that I'm burying that's overdoses, with heroin, fentanyl, all that. So I am what
Wow.
you call a community pastor. You know what I mean? I did 3 funerals this week. You know, um, I did 2 people who OD'd this week, and I did a community activist. But God has just been using it, you know what I mean, in a mighty special way because I'm a pastor for the people, by the people, community pastor. The community is my church.
Right. That's what I wanted to I know that you've been a part of the task force, dealing with
Yeah,
it's that clergyman capital shooting widows lead gun violence task force.
right.
So you've been a part of leading, the task force and this
Yes.
gun violence in
So,
your community.
so, so what happened with that, right? I don't know if you know about that. 5 white reporters got killed in the city at the
Say it
Capitol
again.
Gazette building. So
Say it again. The phone.
5 white reporters. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
five
better.
white reporters got killed. 5 white reporters got killed at the Capitol Gazette building in the city of Annapolis. And so the county executive formed a task force, and he put me on there because it really was about really I'm gonna be honest with you, a black face being on it. But I happened to chair that whole task force for the whole Anne Arundel County, and I was the leader of that.
Wow.
That's a big thing going on. But it really never dealt with the issues that we deal with in our community. You know what I mean? And I'm proud to
Yeah.
say it. You know what I mean? But I got on. God allowed me to lead this task force, and it had everybody on it from the health director all the way to the president and CEO of the
Wow.
hospital. And here I am, the pastor, leading the task force. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, you never know where God will put you, in place.
Right.
And so that they wrote they wrote uh, some recommendations stuff for the county, but then COVID-19 came in and still, because
Pastor.
of the virus.
Pastor.
So I chaired
Just a
the task
second.
force.
Pastor, can you take out the headphones? It might be better. You'll be okay with it. Yeah, so you can just take it out and we'll just trust God. Say
Yeah,
something.
yeah, because the headphones.
Oh, that's
Can you?
better. We can hear you great. Yeah, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I was
That's
trying to
good.
work with those headphones, but the task force, clergyman capital shooting violence task force. So I guess the clergyman is me. This Carrol, the work that I've done allowed me to lead that task force. But that task force was about 5 white people who were killed in our city, and I
Hmm.
mean the city went in uproar. Amen. By the shooter that killed them. But the year 2016, we lost 13 young African American boys, and we didn't even get nothing. You know what I mean? But still,
Wow.
God
That's
allowed me to
how
be
it is.
on there, and I
Yeah.
led it, and I work with it, and I'm still working with it. It put me in a position with some of the leaders and stuff. You know what I mean? Some of the prominent leaders in the county. From the county police chief to the county executive to the CEO of the hospital to the health director and all of that. I've been able
Yeah.
to, with the help of God, lead all those people. If it were
Yeah.
not for this incident of happening to me, I would never be in that place. I wouldn't be in the place that I am now. So
Yeah.
that what happened to me caused me to be in a place where I am now.
Wow. My mother just left a message and she was saying, she said, wow, we never got that report. We didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I
And
have the report because
yeah, yeah. What you saying on our
the
end, we
report it
never
was just
got
for the
that.
county, it
Okay.
was for our county. It wasn't for
Yeah.
Baltimore City, but it was for our county.
Yeah.
But
Dr. Marie
I've
Price.
been doing some great work.
Yeah, you have. I
Yeah,
mean, we always hearing about it. The thing is, as much as you are, like I said, a man of faith, and I mean speaking in tongues, and when you preach is like a breath of fresh air, like you come straight from the word, and you don't cut corners. Honestly, it's a wonderful thing. You are amazing gift, honestly, to the body, to the streets.
right,
You know what I mean? And God has given you to us, and we thank you for that. So it's just amazing when you can go into the community, and the community is trusting because
yes,
they don't really trust many preachers right now. They don't really because they see so much scandal and so many things. You know what I mean? So and they don't really trust
right,
that, but they see that you are real and you're right there. You know what I mean? He said, be all things to all people, and that's
yeah,
what you have shown. That I'm right here with you. You don't go out on the street with a tuxedo or no suit. You know what I mean? And trying to be something else. It's like you go out with your
yeah,
jeans on, your casual clothes. You take them food to eat. You don't try to give them something while they're
right,
hungry, and you go to try to meet that need. And that's what really outreach and reaching out really is. Outreach is reaching out, not staying
right,
in then trying to feed someone. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus wasn't going to hear your stomach growling. You know what I mean? I'm trying to preach some good news to you. Well, they saying, no, the only good news you can give me
right,
right now is some fish and loaves or something. Give me something. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm hungry. Right now I'm starving. And so right now in the communities, like we're the, what's going on is the youth and the people are hungry for something and they're starving for something. And one problem I know that we can have as far as the ones if we're in the church and we have it, we need to give it out. You know what I mean? So we're
right.
gonna end up going to because I want to talk about you're raising your son, your grandsons, you're raising your grandson when right?
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
you are
yeah. I'm
raising
raising my grandson.
yeah, when your son was taken from you in that violent way, then you had to take on that task of you and your wife raising your son's son. So how old is your son? Your grandson, who's now
Yes,
your son?
he's 7. He's
7.
7. But my son was yeah, my son never knew his kids because he was so reckless. You know what I mean? That he
Yeah.
never got a chance to really know his kids. And so when he was murdered, his baby mothers came out and requested DNA. And
Yeah.
when we took the DNA test, we found out that he had 2 kids, a girl and a boy. And so
Wow.
his son spent most of the time with us. You know what I mean? He's 7 years old and he's a split image of his father. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And I always say if he probably would have knew that he had a son, because I know when I had him, it changed me. So,
yeah.
you know, sometimes our kids go down the wrong path,
Yeah.
and we've
Mm-hmm.
never been in denial about that. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm so prevalent in my community is I do on an average of 30 to 50 funerals a year. So
Yeah.
these are people who don't go to church. So,
Exactly.
um, these are people who have no pastor. They call me their pastor. I did a
Yeah.
funeral. They call me their bishop. I don't know really what it means. I'm their bishop. I'll never see them. They never come to my church. But when they have a need,
Yeah.
yeah, I buried a couple people this week. Here come my bishop. I say, well, I guess these people call me their pastor because I'm always in the community
Yeah.
burying the unbeliever.
Because you're the
I said,
only
well, I
pastor.
love to see you sometime. I'm the only pastor they see. So
That's all. Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
call me the bishop, and when they say, here come my bishop. I said, I didn't know you was your bishop, but because I serve the community, you know what I mean? So raising
You
my
serve
grandson
the community.
is an awesome thing, you know what I mean? It's a
So
challenge
listen.
because I my 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 kids are older,
Yeah.
graduated, and they're gonna go to college. And here, I got this 7-year-old. I'm almost starting all over again, and I really
Yeah.
wasn't feeling that because I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying to have, me and my wife. We raise our kids and
Yeah. Y'all trying to go to
take
Jamaica
on
and
this role, and I went
hey,
through some. Yeah, I went through some stuff with that. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't feeling that for real. I wasn't feeling that. I'm trying to go have a party, a Holy Ghost party, not
right.
be raising no little kids. You know what I mean?
So
And
listen,
I've been
Pastor.
struggling with it, but I finally got into it.
Really, this because I want to get back to how old he was when you got him, but we're gonna go to commercial, a quick 30-second commercial, and
All
we'll be
right,
right back to talk about that and bring somebody else on so we can go into a little open floor. All right, thank you. Commercial.
all right. God bless.
Yes, so we're back now. And so listen, so Pastor, wait a minute. We're gonna bring on someone in just a couple minutes. But listen,
All right.
you I remember, you would be going to Jamaica and all that stuff. And a lot of times you go out of the country to preach, but sometimes you go out to lay in the shade, drinking lemonade, just chilling because of all the preaching and all the, whatever. So to be able to, you're so busy,
Yes.
honestly, you're always busy. You're so busy. Thanks for the time you take with me. God bless you. But you're always so busy, but you're busy not doing
Right.
foolish things. You're really busy really doing the work of the Lord. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a great thing. You're
Yeah.
always working for the community. You're always working doing the work for the church and just people. And so your grandson, when you got him, when you and your wife got your grandson, wasn't he around 3 or 4 years old?
4. Yeah, he was 4.
And I remember talking to
I
you and
wasn't
your
feeling it, but he was 4. He was full of
and
energy.
he was a little cutie. But I remember you had to go pick him up
Yeah.
and do all kind of stuff. And and it's crazy because that is something you still chose. You and your wife made a decision, a conscious decision to get him. You know what I mean? And you did it on purpose. And one thing I've been saying since God gave me this like 3 years ago about conversations on purpose is that everything that He did for us was on purpose, even down
Right.
to Jesus. Everything God did for us was on purpose. So there are no surprises with
Right.
Him, and we have
Right.
to make decisions on purpose. So it's time for us to like make decisions on purpose. So whether that's to smile more, be better in our spirit, our attitudes, love one another better, but you had to on purpose make the decision of I'm not going to let this go down like that. This is my son's son, you know and I'm going to go ahead and take this on.
No, I think it was more my
Because,
wife.
yeah,
I gotta give credit to my wife because I was
yeah,
arguing
yeah, I'm
really.
thinking
Like
yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm saying this ain't fair. You know what I mean? Like, and she said you gotta do it. And I'm
Yeah,
saying I don't have to do it, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
choose to do it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I'm saying this ain't fair. I done raised, I know what it's like takes to be a
Yeah,
father, like to raise your kids, to go to basketball games, to change your whole life around, to raise your kids, to go to doctor school. My wife always
yeah,
worked in a home, and I've always had flexible jobs so I could be there for my kids because I'm their greatest fan. So I'm
yeah,
like, Lord, I was counting the days that I was gonna have my freedom, and all of a sudden here he come, and now I gotta pray and ask the Holy Ghost and ask Jesus and the disciples and Mary to help me do this. I'm not gonna say that I really wanted to do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't really feeling it. I was a little upset. You know what
But
I mean?
now,
I'm like,
but now you got him dressing like you, probably.
yeah. 1 week he want to be a preacher, the next week he want to be a rapper. So
Oh, you thought you was done.
I
But you
thought I was
know,
done. I
yeah.
wasn't feeling. I was arguing. I wasn't even praying. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even pray. I was mad. I'm like, but
Wow.
my wife just kept. My wife is she more the family person. I want to travel and go to Jamaica. I'm like, you ready to get in the way? You know what I mean? And now, you know, I'm kind of still trying to buy into it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're a great man. I mean, it's good to even hear this. Even to be able to laugh, doing a segment like this and with a title like this, because what happens is we can't stay in that place of depression or confusion. We can't stay in the place of where we're down and we're just sad, because when our loved ones go on and when they die, whatever way it is, yeah, there's a time to grieve and all of that. And but the thing is, if we don't get out of that place, then that means we're alive, but we're not living. And so we have to yes, pastors on here say all things work together for the good of them and love the Lord. And even when we don't understand, when we don't understand, when tragic hits our home, Pastor Dr. Bryce said, thank God for your perseverance and continuing doing the work that God called you to in your community, you and your wife. Wow, that was a message right to you, Bishop. My mother.
So listen, I want to elaborate on that. So we preach that all things work together, but we really preach that for everybody else.
Yeah.
We don't preach that for ourselves. And so when it comes back to ourselves, sister, then we've been preaching it because we preaching at the funerals and we telling them it's working together for your good.
Yeah.
That sounds good until you guys sit in that seat. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So we preach that. We preach that for everybody else.
Right,
but we don't really want that. We want Job to stay in the Bible.
Right.
We don't want that for ourselves.
And then you want
we do that telling other people what to do. You know what I mean?
Marie Price to preach it to you now.
She preached to me. Yeah, all things work together. And I remember preaching that, but when my son was killed, I wasn't feeling all things. I'm feeling like this ain't fair. You know what I mean? This is not fair. But in that all means everything. That's what it means.
That's right. That's it. But that's how it really is. That's why I was saying, in this title, I'm preaching still violence erupts, because on the outside, you got them other folks saying the same thing. Like there are some people with the slick talk say, oh yeah, the preacher, but what about whatever? Mama said, congratulations, Vanis, you're doing a great job. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, mother. I didn't mean to.
Your mama's the greatest fan. We gotta send her an offering since she make the show.
She's awesome. But the thing is, it's just amazing because there are people like Conversations on Purpose. This platform is so we can have conversations that are needed. There are people talking in their homes and behind closed doors, talking out the side of their necks to somebody else, but they won't openly speak about it. And there are people talking about preachers who kids are not doing good, or preachers who something happened in your house or whatever. Like they're doing all that preaching. They're doing all of that. You know what I mean? But look at what happened to them. But look at what's going on. You know what I mean? And so we just have to remember that even with Jesus, I'm just saying, come on. Look at even God. But even when Jesus walked the earth, he couldn't make everybody serve or do right, live right. Even now, when we look at the earth right now, that's what I want to get into. And we're going to bring Eric Johnson on. As a matter of fact, we'll bring him on in a few seconds. I want us to do questions and answers. We're going to bring on Minister Eric Johnson, who was on last week. We were talking about straight from the streets, because he's a man from the streets, right? But then he came on. Mama said Bishop's absolutely right. So true. When he came on, straight from the streets, when he changed his life, he got strong and strong enough to go back, and now he's helping other people. You know what I mean? You don't have a new perspective on their lives. So you don't have to stay there. Because it's not where you start, but it's where you finish. So I want to talk about that. Let's bring on Minister Eric Johnson. Come on here, Doc. Let's join this conversation.
yes. Let's do that.
Minister Eric B. Johnson. So this is Charles Carrol. He's been listening in. We just want to we greet you. We love you. You were here last week.
Yes.
He was here for the Tester show last week. And so please, first of all, I apologize. I had a little crazy little thing happen to me literally right before the show, and the producer he posted on there to try to give it a 30 minutes. And I kept saying, no, I told people 8:56 for the town, whatever. But literally, my mother wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but it was like something crazy like happened literally like 8:10, and it was like I couldn't believe it happened. You know what I mean? So, but no, so we're here, so that's why we probably was like 4 or 5 minutes late, and we're not gonna be doing that because the producer about to knock my head off. So, but he's doing such a great job. Oh my God, I don't see him. Hopefully, okay. So look, so what I want to talk about real quick, what is it that we can do? What do we think that we could do? Because I had some things to say. What do we think that we can? The producer's rolling his eyes. I mean, I can't take it. What do we think? I love Tim Moore, y'all. He's all doing such a great job. I love the setting and love this. Without him, I couldn't do this. We know without the Lord, we're nothing. But thank God for the people he put in place to be able to help us go forth. So how do we think we could change things? How do we think is so much violence happening? Is so much, how do we think we could change things? You know what I mean? And so I want to put that out there because the violence is here. And a lot of times we sit there and we'll sit there and we'll watch the news. We're gonna be just sitting there watching news, watching TV, and we'll act like we see all the violence and see all the news, act like nothing's going on. I'm just saying, we'll just act like nothing's going on, and then we saying, oh, all this violence and the world is crazy. Oh, no. No, the world is not crazy. The people in the world, it's people that's in here that's making it crazy. You know what I mean? And so there's something, I just want to say this, and I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm gonna say this first to help set this up. I feel that one of the main things that we could do that don't cost us 10 cents, that don't cost us any money, it don't have nothing to do with the president, the mayor, your pastor, or nobody at this point. Some of the things that we could do is not ignore when you see your neighbor, I'm just saying, single mother next door, and you see that they ain't got no shoes, clothes, this or whatever, you won't even hardly speak. You still turn your nose up, you won't show love. So within ourselves, without money, show love, smile. You know what I mean? And then with a little money, it could be something in your house. Back in the day, we used to give our neighbors a cup of sugar. So you guys want some sugar, some milk? You know they next door. You see them raggedy clothes, but you won't help. You know there's not a man in sight. You know there's not a father. You know what I mean? But we don't want to deal with it. Say, they ain't my children. They shouldn't have had them. But you know what? That 10-year-old that you don't want to deal with now because they ain't your children, if they're in your community in 5 years from now, 6 years, you're going to have to deal with them because they're going to be robbing you. You know what I mean? They're going to be sticking you up. You know what I mean? They're going to be doing something crazy. You got to deal with them anyway. So if we could just change that and stop turning our heads to what's right before us, and as a community, we change and try to make things better, whether it's your child or not. You know what I mean? You'll want somebody to do it for you if you weren't around. So anyway, let's open up the floor. What is it that we can do? And I have more, but what is it that we feel that we could do, Bishop and Eric Johnson, to help stop this violence?
Well, just giving honor to the bishop, and good evening, everyone. And there's a verse in the Bible that tells us that very same thing in 1 John 3:17. You know, whosoever has this world's goods and see a brother in need and shut up his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in him?
Yes.
How? If you see a brother in need and you can do something, you have this world's good, you can do something. See, the thing about it, just like I heard the good bishop, it was a need, but the passion drove the purpose. So to speak. You know, it drove the purpose, and it brought something out of him that God had instilled in him, that if it had not been for this situation, it probably wouldn't have came forth, you know. And just like you said, sis, that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But back in the day, and you know how all the big mamas, they used to sit on the steps and things like that, and they knew about everything that went on in the neighborhood. They knew who was this, that. But nowadays, you don't have those big mamas no more.
Yeah, they're not involved.
They respected big mama. You know, they come here Pauline, hey, the drug dealers, we knew what they was doing.
Yeah.
But they had respect and reverence.
That's why I'm so
for the community. Yeah, for the community. But this is the other thing. Bishop, you've done all these funerals and you're out there in the community. Mm-hmm. So this is the point that I want to make. Do you think that God had this pandemic and what's going on right now just to bring his people, those who, just like my sister just said, who are inside of the church, and they inside of the church and they see the violence that is going on, mm-hmm. but they're looking outside the church doors like, mm-hmm. Look at this. Look, you see that? You see this? But God is calling for us mm-hmm. to come outside of the four walls, and put our hands and reconnect with the community. Because back in the day, it wasn't no fear. We had the deacons and all that. We walking up and down the street. And I remember when Bishop Wilson, Israel Baptist, in Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, he took back over the streets in that area on Washington and Preston Street. Yeah. They stood on the corners and ran them guys away.
That my mother taught us that.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And that's in this time for the church, God's people, to capture, to reclaim the land. Say, if my people who are called by my name. So it's not on the people who don't know God. He said, if my people who are called by my name. Mm-hmm. But if we just sit back and when we say it's not my problem, it's not our problem, I'll pray for you.
Watch
I'll pray for you. And it's almost like you're praying from a distance.
Yeah.
Why are you not being in front of me? And while you can't touch and agree with me, touch me and pray with me, just like the bishop here.
Right.
He's out there in the community. They call him their bishop because they can relate. You are mine because you are here.
Yeah.
I can't call somebody else who ain't here.
That's
mine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And my condolences, Bishop, to your situation and your son and your grandson and to your family. My heart goes out to just to think about, and it takes, you need God in this time. You know what I'm saying? You need God in this time because that pressure. You still a man.
Yeah.
They think because you have the title that you don't feel. Oh, he's all right. he can handle it. He know Jesus. He can handle it, but you're still a man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You have those feelings and emotions that want to drive you out there and just to think about it.
Yeah.
We talk about forgiveness in the church and things like that. What if have they captured the one who murdered your son? I just want to ask that question.
Well, we have all of the evidence. We had the weapon, we had the gun, but the challenge we've been having right now is with the state's attorney and the police. There's so much confusion going on with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like they literally don't want to catch the killers. You know what I mean? And we're still fighting. It's been 4 years. The police department say, well, we got enough evidence. The state's attorney say we need more. But now we have these new detectives on it. So hopefully we'll get a shot at it. And we know the people who killed my kids, my son.
That's it right there.
But no one is improving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
it.
You know what I mean? So I got so fed up with them. I'm like, the problems that we're dealing with in the African-American community is broken families.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The person that killed my son came from a broken family.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go through the dollar store and look this boy's mother in the face when I know that her son killed my son. You know what I mean?
Right there. That's it, Bishop. You know who did it.
And I forgive them.
Yeah,
because they will fail.
That's it.
They will fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They will fail. And if I could talk to them, I would ask them, why did you do it? You know what I mean? Because now one of the boys that we know that did it got life 30. Mm-hmm. Ain't never gonna see the streets no more.
Yeah.
He was failed.
Right.
You know, he was failed. And like Robin has said, if we don't fix these families, this killing is gonna keep happening. The land is sick and the families are broken. When you're talking about young people got 4 and 5 kids at 30 years old.
And we gotta
no father. No father. And we keep running down there asking them to fix it. But until we as black people come back together, we have the blueprint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I preached a message of one of the activists called the Black People's Mayor. You know what I mean? Because I just preached that yesterday. I said the mayor was there. I said, but he was our mayor, the Black People's Mayor. You know, we got something going on. We talk about Black Lives Matter, but until Black lives begin to matter to Black people.
Come on, say that, Bishop.
It amazes me. And I told the mayor yesterday, I said, when the white guy killed George Floyd, the whole country erupted. We had a 14-year-old boy got killed in my city and nobody showed up.
Come on.
No marches, no protesters, no nothing. I called the mayor out. I'm like, where we are? How can y'all allow a 14-year-old in your own city? Now, don't get me, I'm not downplaying George Floyd because that was tragic. But until we began to care about our own city.
That's right.
Where was the protesters at?
Yeah, right.
Now they want to blame it on COVID, but they wasn't when George Floyd got killed. People ain't killed. Well, they got the virus or not.
They was ready to get it. They was
out there.
Yeah, give me
talking
that
about Black Lives Matter. Black lives have to matter to Black people.
Yes,
that's it.
We have to fix it.
Yes,
we keep going to them.
Right, come on.
Their children are not dying in the street. Our children are dying.
Yes.
People don't care. People don't care until they hit their house.
Until they hit their house. That's right. That's right.
Do you think?
Out of mind. See, when they hit their house, that's when they're gonna care.
That's it.
That's it.
Those are my people.
That's it. That's right.
You know what I mean? We have to go back.
Yeah.
My focus is not focusing on the justice system or what the state's attorney are gonna do. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. I can't put the effort on that. We have to put the effort on trying to stop the next killer.
Yes, that's right.
Because we don't get a hold of our children.
Yeah.
They're getting younger and younger. They're killing children now. In Chicago on Father's Day, they had 104 killings. 15 of them were children. Didn't even make the headlines. That should have been all over the news. You know why? Because when Black people die, people say nothing.
Yeah.
When we kill each other, people say nothing.
Yeah.
We say nothing.
No, we walking around with a Black Lives Matter band. We need to take that down until Black lives start matter to us.
Yeah,
if it don't matter to us, then it don't matter to them.
Come on.
Joy, that's it.
Let us real quick go to commercial. Everybody catch your breath. If we're gonna go back, we'll be right back in 30 seconds. Amen. I love y'all.
Amen.
Let me say this. I had a 30 seconds to think. Because I was saying this and I'm looking at Black Lives Matter. We all know it's in my countdown where it was showing Black Lives Matter. I was saying it even then, and you was hitting on it, Bishop. Oh my God, I love y'all. Eric is ready for this open forum, but and the show almost over, so we only got 5 minutes, y'all. We better get this. So look,
we got to keep talking about this. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm in.
That's it. We're going to do part 2, Doc. We're going to do part 2. So next week, I'm trying to have just an open forum, open floor next week. Let me just say this. Shout out to Vita, Verta Muse, Tawanda Hill, Mini Men. Yeah, the shout out to you that I think my cousin's on there saying it's true. So Black lives has to matter to yourself also. You know what I mean? If Black lives, it is good for us to do all of that in front of the camera. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives, and you go right home slapping somebody, slapping your girl, abusing folk, molesting somebody, killing somebody, thinking of who you're gonna rob next, all that stuff. So it has to matter to yourself. Your black life,
genuinely,
your black life has to matter to yourself. And if we can get that way individually, we can help to teach the right things to our young people, and don't leave these other young people who don't have much, don't leave them out. When I had some young people going through, when I was getting for my niece, I was getting for the other child who didn't have. Because if her father, they was calling him a deadbeat, I was making sure they had too, and we got to do that. We got to show them love, because they're going to grow up thinking that their lives don't matter, but then jumping in something else saying it matters. I'm just saying. But if we able to show that their lives matter, even if their father left them, I'm just saying, even if their mom on drugs, even if something ain't right or somebody's drunk, if we could show them love in the community and not leave them out, show them that their black life matter, you know what I mean? Then they'll go here and they won't be able to do all of that stuff, because we're teaching them integrity and teaching them to have the right attitude and respect and all that stuff. Because if we don't do it while they're younger, all we're doing is raising the murderers. We're raising the killers. We're raising the robbers. We're raising them to be that way, because we don't know where they'll end up if you ignore them. You know what I mean? Young people are learning their ideology in the streets. We got to change that. That's what the producer's saying. Exactly.
That's it.
We got to change that. It's the truth.
And the biggest thing, just like you said,
the biggest teacher is when they watch you, even the parents, even this. So if you got the parents, if you in the house on Facebook all day and you got them going to the room, you don't know who they talking to, what they doing or whatever, because you so busy trying to get your little whatever on. I'm just saying, even if they are in your house. So we got to do better, period, and stop trying to put it on everybody else. We have to do better for our own community, for our country, ourselves. We need to vote. We need to vote for the right, but stop voting for the wrong one. I guess everybody seems like they're almost wrong somewhere. But the point is, we have to do it for ourselves. All right, go ahead. We only got a couple minutes left. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just exactly what you just said. The root of it, just like the good bishop said, it starts in the house.
Yeah.
It starts in the house with the love. Why do you think we have these gangs and all that? Because everybody wants to belong.
Yeah.
These kids are looking. So if they can't find it in the house, just like the person who commented, it's out there in the street. The devil is out there. So he got plenty for them to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's never a shortage of sin, and it's never a shortage of crime that could come about. So we got to go back out and be that village to everyone. It's not just because that's her son. No, these are our children. Our children.
Our children.
We get that part because we were raised up to be separate.
Yeah.
You know, we had pride and proud at one time, but then the government got in there and separated the family, just like the bishop said, and then we started believing in that part. Believing, that's my enemy.
Yeah.
Now they call, you know, the name the nigga, that nigga and this nigga or whatever, you know, and that's the name that they grasp to.
Yeah.
And now they turned it into a term of endearment.
Yeah, they call each other niggas, but when a white man call them a nigga, they be ready to fight.
Now there's an uprising. Yeah, it's an uprising now.
You better get out my face, Bishop. No,
listen to this. Let me say, I want to say this. I want to say this. Look, guns ain't never going nowhere.
Yeah.
Guns are always going to be guns is $1 billion business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going nowhere. So we got to teach our kids not to pick guns up.
Yeah.
You know, guns are always going to be here. This stuff is by design. If you take a group of people who are broken, who are already on the edge, who are already launched out, and you give them a gun, what do you expect them to do? They're already angry. They're already mad because, you know, they're conditioned. They're mad because their fathers, they're mad because mama's acting up. Then you give them a gun and you give them some drugs. What do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
It's by design.
Yeah, it's by design.
And the role models on TV. Yeah, and the role models on TV is perpetuating.
I was telling the gun violence committee, right? So I don't own a gun. I told the white guy from the NRA, I said, what you got your gun for? You know, he got a whole stockpile of them. Because look, if a revolution break out in this country, them white boys got them guns, man.
They got them joints. They got them.
And that's how the guns get in our community coming up on 95. They have them.
Yeah. Gavin said we need some mentors. We do need some mentors.
Every illegal gun was first legal.
Wow.
Right? Every illegal gun was first legal.
Well, at first I did want a gun, Bishop. I'm not going to kid you, but I didn't want it so I could shoot anybody initially.
I was thinking about I wanted one too so I could protect my family.
Right? No, I want to try to go gun violence. I just wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted to go to the thing. I wanted to get a gun. You know, excuse me, everybody.
The reason why I don't want it, right? Because if I pull it, I'm gonna have to use it. I had a gun one time, and I ran with it when I was in the world.
Dr. Miller.
I had the gun to pull it. If I pull it out, that means I got 5 seconds. I'm gonna use it. So if I got it, see, the police only got power because they got that gun. That's why they talk all that trash. But if you catch him without that gun, he ain't saying nothing.
Oh, that little wuss. That little wuss. Come on, that ain't nothing. Look, and then as soon as the police
that's why he down in the community talk trash. If he was born down there, he didn't have no gun, he wouldn't be saying nothing to the boys on the corner. But since he got that gun, he's showing it, he walking up and down because he got that gun that give him power. You know what I mean?
Listen, everybody, we got 3 minutes left. We got 2 Listen, let me let everybody know. First of all, let me just say this. And I get pulled over. But I get pulled over. And we ain't got to get pulled over. We see a police officer, we all nervous. This was before they was putting knees on the necks and all that. We all nervous, like, no, we ain't do nothing. We're just nervous. Yeah, that only make no sense. They ain't nothing without them guns. They probably over home with their wives. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. But see, we gotta be mindful. Even with that, we can't mess with the police because if we ain't have them, no Pook and them be coming through our window all the time.
With the guns. No, we just talking about how they.
I know.
I should be able to dial 911, and they act a little funny right now. But look, we're gonna have to.
They ain't coming, baby. They ain't coming. Time they get to our neighborhood, the people dead. They always coming after they die.
No,
some neighborhoods they don't even come to.
No, but I heard they sit. No, one cop told me, I ain't lying, that they sit there, they try to go eat some donuts and wait until it's all over. Then they go over there where they feel like the smoke cleared a little bit.
The smoke,
Listen, I love you. Pastor, tell us, give us your information where they can find you. And Eric, you give us your information again. We got to go. We're going to let the commercial take us out of here. We're going to do part 2 next week. We definitely going to have an open talk. If y'all, Bishop, you good for next week? Because we're not through. We're ready to talk about this. Now we're going to take it. All right,
good.
listen. All of y'all in the audience, meet us next week at 9 o'clock. We're gonna do this at 9 o'clock, but it's gonna be an open forum. So we want you to put your comments in. I was trying to read some comments as he was letting me see them. We want you to comment. We want you to get some questions out of there. We thank you for watching. Bishop, tell us. We thank you for joining us. Eric, thank you for joining us. And we got, I can't take it, Dr. Michael Miller. I ain't going to say what he's saying. Dr. Michael Miller is watching also. And he's saying he will be on the show. He's actually scheduled to be on the show. And we thank you. He acted crazy. Michael Miller.
You got a gun in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Kenny Anderson, God bless you, Kenny. So listen, Bishop, tell us so we can go out in commercial. Tell us.
You can reach me on Facebook. Amen. Pastor Carrol on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Inbox me. That's how you can reach me. Or newcreationsdeliveranceministry.com. That's my website. Just Google my name and you'll find me.
And that's
Google, you'll find a whole bunch of articles about me.
That's Pastor Charles Carrol. Okay. Go ahead, Eric, real quick. Tell them what you do with the
I'm Eric Johnson. You know, I'm the owner of J. Sire Group and EJ Restoration. You can look it up, Google it, Google my company's up, and you can call me 757-319-1239. I'm always down the street. I'm down the ride.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching.
All right, God bless you.
Next Friday night, 9 p.m.
All right.
Conversation on Purpose. I'm your host, Robin and Bryce. God bless you. I love you, Mom. Dr. Bryce. Love you, Tim.
Advertise your brand, small business, or service with Conversations on Purpose. By advertising online, you will expand the reach of your business and brand to a wider audience. We offer various tiers for advertisers, from a single ad up to sponsorships of an entire episode with co-branded opportunities. Conversations on Purpose can also develop your ads for a small fee. Your ads will also be available to you to use on your social media accounts such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, in addition to appearing on the show. For more information, contact Conversations on Purpose. Thank you.